Tonight on KGW News, we know how it ended.
He'd actually reported being stuck in that mud for over 12 hours.
Now we've got a better idea of how this extremely dangerous patient escaped. Plus, deterring crime and boosting safety.
My hope is that my team will feel more comfortable leaving work every night.
The change that could be coming to downtown streets that doesn't involve police. Then, a faster fix for an aging school sports field. So what's next for the gridiron at Portland's Grant High? Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko, and we begin tonight with new efforts to create a more welcoming Rose City, specifically in a neighborhood that has been struggling to make a comeback. Catherine Cook shows us part of the plan aiming to bring more visitors back downtown by making them feel safe.
Do you feel safer? Yes or no?
For many who work in downtown Portland, every day feels like a tale of two cities. Hotel guests and special occasions flanked by a world of hurt.
We notice around 7 p.m. in the evening, we start to get more of a gathering of individuals that are buying, selling, and using drugs.
Gillian Duff is general manager of El Gaucho in the Benson Hotel. She wants her employees and guests to feel safe here day and night.
It is more and more critical by the day. We can't lose any more time in building back Portland to what it has been in the past.
It's a message echoed by dozens of other hotels and restaurants. In July, they gathered at the Nines Hotel for a hotel and restaurant safety summit.
With the fentanyl crisis and with organized drug activity downtown, the call from our hoteliers has been very clear. We need more help.
Mark Wells is executive director of Clean and Safe. He says some help may come in the form of increased clean and safe patrols in downtown's hospitality core.
We're out there to ask for voluntary compliance, to triage situations, provide medical care. We've Narcaned over 75 people in the last year. That's 75 lives that Clean and Safe have saved. So we're kind of serving as a triager, eyes and ears for the police.
Clean and Safe wants to add 14 to 15 public safety coordinators to double staff at night and on weekends. Up to $1 million of pledged funding would come from a combination of state, city, county, TriMet, and private dollars.
Once we know the money is coming, we can staff it up again, 2 weeks-ish.
Wells says Portland police will still handle violent crimes in progress. For that reason, some working downtown question if more clean and safe patrols will really deter criminals.
They know that they have to contact the police, and that those guys are there just to say, don't do that. And what do they care about those guys? So increasing their numbers to me makes no sense. They're not going to do anything different.
Gillian Duff does see a difference, and knowing stakeholders are backing it just fuels her resolve.
I have worked and lived in downtown Portland for most of my life. I'm very optimistic. To me, there is no other option.
Now, if all the pledged funding goes through, Clean and Safe says it should cover 6 months of increased patrols. At the end of that time period, business leaders plan to meet again and consider what worked, what didn't, and where to go from there. David.
Okay to have a little optimism. Here is to hoping it is one part of making things that much better. Thank you, Catherine. Tomorrow, Portland City Council will reconsider an ordinance to try and cut down, by the way, on public drug use. The proposal would add drugs to an already existing ban on drinking alcohol in public. Violators could be fined up to $500 or spend up to 6 months in jail. But there is a big legal hurdle. Right now, state law only allows cities to ban public alcohol consumption, not drug use. So either state lawmakers or courts would need to take action for that ordinance to take effect. You might remember the mayor first introduced a similar ordinance in June, but tabled it after the state passed a bill strengthening criminal penalties for possession of fentanyl. Let's get to new information this evening from Oregon State Police about the man who escaped from the custody of the state psychiatric hospital and ended up stuck in the mud in a North Portland pond. Alma McCarty is here with a look at the timeline of a wild chase, search, and eventually a rescue. Alma.
Yeah, David Christopher Prey, I should say, was sent to the Oregon State Hospital after a judge found him unfit to proceed in an attempted murder case against him. But as soon as he got there, police say he caused trouble.
On August 30th, Prey's first day at the Oregon State Hospital, police say he was involved in a cafeteria fight and taken to a Salem hospital for treatment. It was on his way back, OSP says Prey took control of his transport van and drove off from an unsecured area at the state hospital. At the time, Prey had shackles on his legs, a belly chain, and handcuffs. How he got control of the van and what exactly happened to the driver is still unclear. OSP would only say that the person is physically okay. About 30 minutes after the van was reported stolen, around 11:10 at night, Kaiser police spotted it and tried to stop it. But OSP says Prey fled down I-5 South. Both departments followed at first, but stopped, saying the incident did not meet the pursuit policy. The next day, OSP issued an alert to the public about Prey's criminal history and potential threat to the community. Cut to Friday, September 1st. Firefighters get the call to rescue a man stuck in the middle of a North Portland pond. Using a ladder, crews throw him a rope and drag him to safety.
He'd actually reported being stuck in that mud for over 12 hours. It's very fortunate that he was even alive at that point.
When they pulled him out, Portland Fire and Rescue did not know this was Prey. But once in the hospital, a Legacy employee recognized him and alerted PPB, who took him back into custody.
Now, as for the van, police found it at the intersection of Northeast 19th Avenue and Gleason on Saturday. Prey is now back in the Multnomah County Detention Center. David?
Such a bizarre saga there. Thank you, Alma. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. The man accused of throwing rocks through the windows of more than a dozen Gresham businesses has been indicted for a fourth time. Today, a grand jury indicted Garrett Fine on 16 charges dating back to July 4th, when investigators say he hit at least 10 businesses. They also allege when a witness tried to confront him, Fine punched that person in the face. He's been arrested 5 times this summer for similar incidents and kept getting released from jail. This time, though, he's being held in custody, set to be arraigned tomorrow. Tonight, the Portland Public School Board approved a resolution they hope will pave the way for a new field at the Grant Bowl. Right now, that turf is unsafe for team sports, which means athletes have to travel even for home games. It's something parents pointed out means they have to leave school early.
The loss of the Grant Bowl is harming our students every single day. The men's and women's teams will collectively, I've done the math, miss 463 hours of instructional time just this month to play their home games.
Well, Portland Public Schools is now asking for a long-term lease for the Grant Bowl so they can handle future improvements and not have to go through the city, which owns and operates the field. It is not clear yet how quickly they will be able to replace that turf. And classes are canceled yet again tomorrow in both the Evergreen and Camas school districts. As far as we know, there have been no significant breakthroughs on negotiations between administrators and the teachers on strike in those districts. Talks will continue tomorrow. Developing this evening, the man accused of stabbing 2 teenagers on a MAX train has now pleaded not guilty to attempted murder. Our Mike Benner was in court today and learned why investigators are considering this a hate crime.
That's Adrian Cummins in a Multnomah County courtroom Tuesday afternoon. Cummins pleaded not guilty to nearly a dozen charges, including attempted murder, assault, and bias crime. It's alleged that on Saturday evening, 2 17-year-old boys, both black, were riding the MAX when Cummins yelled F-N-word at them and attacked them. Court documents suggest Cummins stabbed one teen in the arm and the other in the chest. That boy's heart was nicked by the knife. He had bleeding around the lungs, and his chest had to be opened for surgery. At last check, he was intubated in the ICU. Believe it or not, the result of only one of the crimes Cummins is accused of committing Saturday night. Court documents indicate that within minutes of the alleged attack on the teens, Cummins came to this Checkers Mart at 92nd and Flavel and pulled a knife on the clerk and a customer who were trying to stop him from stealing some items. Officers eventually apprehended Cummins, who faced a judge Tuesday, and he'll be back in court before the end of the week for what's called a preventative detention hearing.
Mike Benner reporting there. It turns out Cummins should have been in jail when the crime was committed. He was arrested in mid-August for missing an earlier court appearance, and there was a court order that he be held in jail until late September, though for reasons that aren't really clear yet, the deputies at the jail turned him away.